You want to know one that we were not surprised about, and I want to start this beef up again with our fans that watch us. Those Bears fans, bro, you guys are so nauseating. It's ridiculous. It's
Well-
a 10 wins easy, bro. Easily.
Yeah.
How? Have you guys watched your team?
Betrayal scars, can't stop thinking about those stab wounds. We might not catch him today, but he gon' die soon.
Welcome to Third and Wrong. This is Dylan.
Ooh.
We got Gage and Mikey here. How are you guys doing today?
Bittersweet. They're gonna laugh at me because I've been pissing and moaning about it for Lost Fantasy, you know. But at the end of the day,
This is
my team's in the playoffs.
this is a fantasy league that we started at like week 6 or 7. So
no. This is the one.
is that the other one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one I could care less about.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't
don't
give
really
a crap
care
about that
at
league
all.
right now. But Mikey, how are you doing? How's number 3 feeling?
Terrible. I wanted number 2. I just needed Washington to win today.
Against the Cowboys? Yeah, right.
Yeah, they made sure that wasn't gonna happen.
Bro,
I
Drake
know
May
they
is going to
did.
look sweet in Washington.
I know.
Dude,
Don't worry, we got
some
Penix loaded up.
announcers today said that there's something about a player who it was Montez Sweat. He's like Montez Sweat might be the first player to lead 2 teams in sacks for the year for the Chicago Bears and the Washington Redskins. And I was like, oh,
Heyo, canceled.
heyo. But welcome back, everyone. If you've been a watcher of ours, and if you haven't been, welcome in. We are a small YouTube channel at the moment, but we're looking to change that. So if you can, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. You'll see it right down here in the middle of the video, just as a constant reminder. It helps us out a bunch. With this video, though, what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about the NFL. We haven't talked about the NFL in a long time, so we're just going to talk loosely about that for a while. But then we want to do a mock draft. We really like our off-season content. It seems like you guys do too. So we're going to get our feet wet there. I don't think either of us or any of us have gone extensively into a lot of these players. We're not full-time scouts. We're not, we're not putting our blood, sweat, and tears into it just yet. But if you support us enough, maybe we can quit our full-time jobs and give you that information beforehand. So
Please, I'm tired of working construction.
please help us out.
Please. My back hurts. I'm 25.
After that mock draft, sorry.
Mikey's got to be a pretty good expert right now. I mean, he kicks on the Patriots game, and then he's like, how do I get over this? Let's look up this guy's highlights.
Who can we
There we
draft?
He's probably been doing that since like week 6.
Yeah.
We
Well,
need
and,
tackle, guard, center, quarterback, receiver, tight end, running back. We need everything. So I've been looking a lot.
New head coach, new
New head coach,
Staff.
new GM.
No. They're going to fire Bill Belichick from being the head coach. Let him rest.
No.
Let him just be the GM.
Oh my God, I would lose my mind.
And bring up, what's his name? Mayo.
I would be a Lions fan so fast.
Well, so after this mock draft that we're going to be doing, we are also going to talk specifically about the top 3 teams in the draft, so the bottom 3 teams of the NFL. Kind of excluding the Bears on that because the Panthers were the one that gave them that pick. We'll talk about that more at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. It's not stick tuned. Stay tuned for that, and we'll have a great video. But let's jump in, boys. 2023-2024 season was probably the worst season ever. We don't really... Just kidding. No, it felt like a long season, to be honest, for me. And as a Colts fan, I wasn't expecting to be in the playoff hunt. But now that I was, it's really, a bitter ending. So kind of a bitter end to somewhat of a surprise season. But
Well, do you kind of want to start there then? Because you guys
Colts?
were like the first actual important game. I mean, that Steelers-Ravens game was pretty dreadful.
Well, yeah. So to talk about the Colts, just I only really think we talked much like maybe a few weeks after Anthony Richardson being out, but there's a lot of good that happened with the Colts this year. You can tell that the coaching was just better. Typically better decisions were made throughout the year. But I think it's obvious that if Anthony Richardson just magically got the no injured, option slider on Madden, then he would have had an amazing season this year. At least for a rookie, I think he would have had a lot of good plays. I think he would have won a lot more of the games that Minshew didn't, and we would be looking at a different ending to our season. We, maybe he still probably would have lost in the playoffs, I think, or maybe still not have gotten there. But I think we would have had more experience towards our rookie quarterback, which is kind of a big blow right now.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest blow, is because like you have next year, you have a decent situation around him, and Shane Steichen's really good, and he's going to get a lot out of it. But you still have that first like rookie year, get it all out. So you're still going to have that, like, one, getting back into health, and then getting through the whole I'm playing my first season through. So hopefully he can get through that quickly.
Yeah. Well, and then we can leave aside any personal mano a mano team. I don't know what I want to call it, but everything aside in the past, week 18 coming down to everything. I said this on Twitter at the beginning of the game. The Colts just came out soft, and then they tried to come back and play like like our season's on the line. And I think it really showed that like we had over 200 yards rushing as a team, but we only had one touchdown, and we lost to a team that outside of two plays really couldn't get the ball like moving. 2 plays and that last drive from Stroud, they really like didn't move the ball all that much. Like they didn't run the ball, and their passing game outside of Nico Collins was all right. But when it came down to it, the better quarterback won. I think CJ Stroud is definitely better than Gardner Minshew. But that last play, like, there's so many things that went wrong with it. The coach should have called that play. Minshew should have thrown a better ball, and Goodson should have caught the ball as well. And all 3 things can be true, and the fault can be on all 3 players. And that's what it comes down to, is like, obviously we weren't a good enough team because we didn't have a back out there that could actually catch the ball reliably. So just a frustrating end, but sad that it has to be to the Texans, who now win the AFC South and get a home playoff game. But
well, I guess we can stay in the AFC South. What, dude? The Jags just collapsed.
Yeah, dude.
We've
That's another AFC South team.
Yeah, like us 3, we'll text and everything. We haven't been doing videos as we should, but we still talk pretty much daily. And a while back, we were talking about what Trevor Lawrence is just Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
it really is.
Like,
I sent that graphic in too. That pretty much put it all into perspective.
Yeah, I don't. That team just folded. And I listened to a Browns YouTuber, obviously, but he has like big beef with the Jags this year because in the beginning of the season they were talking about like Trevor Lawrence is way better than Lamar Jackson. That was like a media narrative, like Trevor Lawrence is up there because they won a playoff game. And he's like, that was just the Chargers being the Chargers. Like he still threw 4 picks in that game. Are we just going to ignore that?
Yeah.
And he's like, he's good. He's got potential, but why are we throwing him on this pedestal already? Like, I don't get it. And then you got flamed for it, and you could just see it like all year long. Trevor Lawrence was just, honestly, there was like very little high moments for him.
Well,
they were always
to
like,
me, this
games.
is something that we're going to be talking about later in the video as well. What makes a good quarterback to draft and everything like that. But to me, Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's ever really gotten the locker room behind him. I don't know why I feel that way. And, people probably say that they do support him and stuff like that in the locker room. But I feel like he just doesn't have a NFL leadership quality. I think he has a college leadership quality where he can say, hey, like, guys, follow me. Coach is right, guys. Like, we just got to work harder, guys. Like, I feel like that's how he is.
So.
Whereas CJ Stroud's like, he's one of the dudes in the locker room already. Like, it's not like he's the quarterback and
Well-
they're everyone else. CJ Stroud is the locker room.
I mean, there's also the next point where CJ Stroud, we're like, we got to do this, and then he goes out there and he balls out, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, we can follow this guy.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence goes out there and
It's everyone else's fault.
yeah, but he doesn't blame it on people.
No,
He just
but that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
the Jags just kind of imploded. He's got bad habits, and I've noticed like if you pressure him in any way, shape, or form, he is just throwing off his back foot and praying.
Yeah.
Which, like, obviously, if you pressure any quarterback, they're not going to be as good. But for somebody that's like as big as he is and as athletic as he is, you'd expect a little bit more when it came to that. I don't know. The Jags just imploded, and it was all offense related because that defense was just absolutely lights out for months.
Well, and like the other thing too is like they don't have Aiden Hutchinson on that team because they took Trayvon Walker.
We
Great
said
choice.
it too. You can go back and watch our videos.
Yeah.
Or like it was like clear as day. Aiden Hutchinson was the best defensive end.
Well, I mean,
But-
I do think that they need to add veterans on that defense because I feel like they have like a few, but like I just don't think they have like a great defensive coordinator, and
No, like no
Yeah.
leadership on the defense either.
they just need some. I think offensively they're like they can score on people. Like they haven't really been like fully shut out. I don't think, but like they get hit in the mouth and they just they pipe down. I guess I don't know, but
It's a young team.
yeah.
And that's the issues with young teams. You see potential, and then you see why being young does what it does to you.
Yeah.
That's why, like in Madden, you want everyone to be really young because their overalls are going to go up. That when you get to actual teams, you're like, okay, there has to be a mix. You need those veterans that have been there long. Like, I don't care if he's 31, he's good, he's still playing. It doesn't matter about that.
Well, it's like this. I was playing around with golf like years ago, and there's a guy that was just ripping these balls, but they would like land off the fairway, or they would hit a tree or land in the sand pits. But he was just ripping these guys, and then this old dude comes in, soft little stroke, it lands straight on the fairway. Next shot lands right on the green, and he's putting and he's in. But this other guy, he's out there just swinging with his might, and he's getting it all over the place. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is when you have a veteran, he knows how to just get it on the fairway, get it on the green. It doesn't matter that he can't drive 350 yards anymore. It matters that he's going in a straight line. He knows what to do. And that experience puts you in a better position than just the athleticism.
Yeah.
But I guess
Absolutely.
to round out the AFC South, the Titans ended on a win against the Jaguars, but they're a franchise that I think are just in that like mediocrity. Like they're not bad, they're not great. Their coach is not bad, not great. Their quarterback is wishy-washy, injured now, but their quarterback situation is here, there, and everywhere. They have old people that have a lot of money, and they don't have a lot of great young talent. So, interesting situation for the Titans too.
They had Derrick Henry talk after the game and like thank the fans and kind of say his farewell. So it's probably kind of known that he's not coming back. They're not going to bring back Tannehill. They're finally letting go of 2 years ago and gonna start rebuilding.
Oh.
Whether that's like, we want to tank rebuild, or if they're gonna rebuild by going middling teams and hope they can pick somebody up.
Well, I think they're going to shed some salary. I think they got a new GM within the last little bit, so there's still some roster reconfigurations to do. And more than anything, they have to fix that offensive line. Like,
Yeah.
I think they had probably the worst offensive line this year outside of maybe Carolina.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe Carolina, but
Carolina probably, but like the amount of flags, the amount of pressures that their tackles have given up, it's just unreal. Like, I think the Panthers just were outskilled, but I think that the Titans just were outcoached and outskilled too. So something to look at there.
Well,
But the AFC South is a lot stronger than a lot of people thought it would be. So I'm happy about that.
well, let's kind of move towards playoff teams, and then we'll kind of go back towards Mikey's side when the draft comes, when it's going to be more entertaining for him to talk about it.
Yeah.
The cruddy teams, you mean?
Yeah, teams that didn't win more than 5 games.
Yeah, that's right.
That played more than 2 interesting games all year.
So the playoffs are set. The NFC, you got the Niners that finished up first.
Did the
Cowboys,
did the Bills finish their
Lions.
game yet?
Say it again.
No.
Bills.
No,
They're
it is
playing right
in
now.
4th right now.
Okay. Who's up?
The Dolphins right now.
Big?
14.
No, a touchdown.
Okay. So that one's still up to play. That's 2. The second seed is up for grabs, and then 6th or 7th seed is kind of
Yeah, so if the
There.
Bills win, they will play the Steelers. And if the Dolphins win, they'll play the Bills.
wow. Yeah,
But basically, it's pretty much set.
that would be crazy if the Dolphins win, they have to play Buffalo again back-to-back
Yep.
weeks.
Yep.
Wow.
But sticking on the NFC side, we got the first playoff game, which is the Buccaneers versus the Eagles. Then we've got the Lions versus the Rams, and the Packers versus the Cowboys. Personally, for me, I think that the Lions and Rams game is going to be the most entertaining.
Oh.
They've got a great storyline, but then the Rams, I think, are legit. Like, they are hot right now,
Yeah.
and
I did not see them winning 10 games this year. That's crazy to me.
I mean, it helps when you've got 2 5th-round picks that are incredible.
Yeah.
You can't project that. You can't be like, oh yeah, this 5th rounder, he's going to break out the rookie records.
Yeah.
We can put that production and shoot that one in.
And then this 5'8" running back is going to...
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that game, I mean, obviously that's also the Stafford-Goff trade
Yep.
game. Really
Stafford
root for
going back
Detroit,
home.
personally. What?
Stafford going back home.
Yeah. Green Bay Packers, Cowboys. I feel like that's just that's like your typical primetime game right there every year.
Thanksgiving
If the
Day.
Packers are ever playing the Cowboys, it's on every year.
It's like a Thanksgiving game.
Um,
I feel like.
it'll be a close one. I think the Cowboys are just. I think the Cowboys are playing amazing football. It's just hard to trust
Dak.
Yeah.
Dallas, right?
In the
I feel like
playoffs.
Green Bay
Playoff Dak?
has had to struggle so much to get to 9-8, where I feel
Yes,
like
they
Dallas
have.
kind of coasted more to 12-5. Obviously they had some tough games in there, but I think
just-
they're better than Green Bay.
Yeah, the way CD's been playing this last month and a half,
Yeah, unreal.
and then going against a Joe Barry defense that can't stop the Buccaneers or Panthers or anybody. I'm just at home too.
yeah,
I struggle.
yeah. What do you think about the Buccaneers versus the Eagles? Because the Eagles just seem like they have hit this
A
funk.
wall.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And they're obviously more talented across the board, but also Jalen Hurts broke his middle finger. Like,
And AJ Brown got hurt. I'm trying
Yeah.
to find out how severe that was.
so, man, the Eagles.
Did he break his finger or did he only? I think he only dislocated it.
It was either dislocated or broken, but it was like
yeah,
Yeah,
It was
I think
like
he
back.
only
He's just like,
dislocated
look
it
at it.
though.
we might have just dislocated it.
well, I feel like if he dislocated it, they would have popped it, but he was on the sideline with it all crooked up as well. Like, you guys gonna pop it into place, or
Nah.
let's see.
Well, and they weren't trying to lose that game because there's no way that they have Jalen Hurts out there if they're not expecting to try and win that game. And they got
Right.
they just got outplayed.
destroyed. Which is weird. It's not how this is like the worst way to go into the playoffs is what the Eagles have been doing. Going from the 1 seed to falling all the way to the 5th seed, like that's just tough. I think the Buccaneers. I don't know if Baker's gonna beat the Eagles, but that
Yeah.
to me is the I think just the most interesting, like, out of just curiosity game. I think the Rams Lions game will be the most interesting because we don't know who's better right now. But man, that game is going to be crazy.
Let's see. Sirianni doesn't seem worried about Hurts' own availability, but he might be down Devontae Smith with an ankle injury and A.J. Brown with a knee injury.
Wow.
Yeah, they're saying it's not believed to be serious, but to come back next week and play, we'll see.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if either of those receivers aren't there, that makes the job a lot easier for the Buccaneers.
And the Buccaneers' defense is smothering. Like they've
Yeah.
got a good defense,
Yep.
and the Eagles got a great rushing defense, but you can throw it on them
Yeah.
all year. So maybe that game's a lot closer than what is anticipated, and then you don't have to go to Philly. You can play it in Tampa Bay.
So, do you feel like the Niners are the best team clearing? Like, do you think they should be expected to be the Super Bowl team from the NFC?
Well,
I
the
do.
Bills just tied up the game. They just returned a punt for a touchdown for like 89 yards.
Wow.
Yep. But I do think the Niners are the best team.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be hard to beat.
I think the Browns are the best team.
Whatever, you freaking homer.
We're talking about the NFC, though, so thank you very much.
Okay, and the NFC, then yes. The
Yeah,
Niners are going to go through.
Hey, who do you think
Barn
the
Mike.
NFC person in the Super Bowl is going to be, Mikey?
The Browns.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be the Browns.
Hey, did you know that if it wasn't for weed, Josh Gordon would be the best NFL wide receiver ever?
Dude, the Browns.
That's fucking facts.
Anyways,
You're telling me that Josh Gordon, bro, he was Megatron and he was playing high.
Well, he
All
could have
right,
just
so-
put down a little bit more, you know?
So, San Francisco, favorites.
Yeah, I think they're clear.
In correction, it was a 99-yard punt return.
Wow.
No, it was not. He caught on the 5.
And there you go. They got their demand.
Yeah, but he
DeMar
dove 4
Hamlin
feet
shot
into-
in. He's on
4
the
yards.
sideline wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's chilly there in Miami, okay?
Um,
All right, anyways.
96
yeah, I
yards.
think the Niners are. This is finally their year. They're healthy for now. Going in healthy.
Yeah. I think CMC is going to be fine. I think they kind of just put him out as like a. Let's
And-
not play him, you know. Just
Bubble.
kind of sit him this week.
And people like to clown on them because they just got wiped by the Ravens. But there's a clear different talent level in the
Right.
AFC than there is in the NFC.
Yeah.
It's kind of been shown all year long.
Well, and no one's
And-
talking about, but the Ravens are the best team in the NFL right now.
Mhm.
I know
Without
the
a doubt.
Browns have done more with less technically. You know what I mean?
No, the Ravens are the best team
the
in
Ravens
football
are
right
the
now.
best team right now.
The last team to beat them, though, was in Baltimore with the Browns when Deshaun
Browns.
Watson had a torn groin and a broken shoulder, throwing shoulder, and
Yeah.
he, came back and we beat them.
Yeah,
But-
Gardner Minshew
Browns.
also beat him too. So
So that's all I'm saying is listen.
The Browns.
yeah,
So we gotta move
that,
over to the
that was
AFC
in
then now,
the
'cause you guys
early
are chat-
part of the season. That was new
Browns.
offensive coordinator Monken. That was all these wide receivers weren't popping off. Isaiah Likely's gone kind of nuclear lately. So I think the favorites for the Super Bowl right now is going to be the Niners and the Ravens. Obviously, it comes down to health. It comes down to
Yeah.
defense, but
Lamar's a regular season warrior.
Yeah, I was gonna
he
say.
has been. But so my
In playoffs.
biggest gripe is that their offense was so run heavy that if they got behind, they could
Okay,
not
bro.
do it.
That's
and-
fair.
And when they got too far ahead, they would only run the ball and got too predictable, and that's why people could come back on them and score. And playoff football to me is, can you score with just a minute left on the clock? And the people that can win the Super Bowl. And I think the Ravens have enough talent, enough play versatility to keep you on your toes enough to not have to count on
Well-
Lamar Jackson going 60 yards to score a touchdown or not.
Unfortunately for them, 2 of the AFC North teams are in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
And that's who they don't want to see, because you can say, "Oh, the Ravens are great. The Ravens are great." We can always talk about how teams are great, but once you play divisional teams, it doesn't really matter how good you are normally,
Yeah.
because divisional matchups are just crapshoots.
The only way that the Ravens would play them is if either the Steelers beat the Chiefs, which is possible. I think the Chiefs are pretty weak this year, or the Browns have to be have to beat the Texans.
It would be the
And
AFC Championship game.
yeah, well, no, because they if both the 6 and 7 seed teams lose, then the
Yeah.
Browns win, they would play the Ravens, but that would be the only way that happens, which you would have either the Buffalo Bills or the Dolphins potentially in that situation. And I don't think either of those teams, or I don't think both those teams would get kicked out of the first round.
So, Browns going to Texans, playing them. What are your guys' thoughts?
Oh man, Flacco.
Honestly, I think their cornerback matchup is like with your guys' wide receivers. I think Flacco's going to have a harder time against Steven Nelson and Derek Stingley than he's had in the past. But I do think that your guys' defense is better. So it depends, really. I think the Texans are more... I think they have more momentum because they won to get in, and the Browns didn't have to do anything this week. And, you know, obviously they didn't have to because they won more games, but, you know, sitting on your butt kind of slows down things a little bit.
I mean, Joe Flacco did just drop 270 yards to only Amari Cooper against the Texans.
Yeah.
And that was against Stingley and Nelson. So
I mean, that's fair. Those are like Stingley's young, and so we'll see how they respond. But that's the thing too that kind of isn't in the Browns' favor, is if you beat them so bad before, like you don't really have much to go in and fix, whereas the Texans have, you know, all this, you know, stuff to go and work on. I wouldn't write it off. I do think the Browns should be favored, but I think that Stingley and Steven Nelson have been playing good the last couple of weeks, so maybe they turned it around.
Okay, so who do you think wins?
The Browns.
I'm going to go Texans. Playoff atmosphere in Houston is going to be different than, because they played in Cleveland.
No,
they played in Houston.
Yeah,
I still think that Houston atmosphere is going to be a little bit more. I think that'll help them a lot.
We'll see, because Stroud likes to live off of the deep ball. You don't get to have the deep ball against the Browns because you have to throw it within 2 seconds.
Yeah, but Stroud's shown that he can do that, though. Like, that's not like he's like.
We'll see. He struggled against the Ravens. He struggled against the Steelers.
Yeah.
He struggled against the Bengals. And now he gets to play the best defense in football.
Every time I hear Joe Flacco's name now, I just think of the meme of him on the sideline, almost falling asleep. And then when people put up on top and like, Joe Flacco went up against Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu twice a year. Like, these guys are sweet to him now. Like, these guys ain't nothing nowadays to Joe Flacco. This is nothing new. You're going up against these guys in practice every day and twice a year for years. These guys are sweet to him. The candy, bro. They're nothing. Yeah. I got Browns.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be close. It's hard to choose, but that's where I'm just leaning towards the home field advantage.
Joe Flacco, top 10 gunslinger all time. Don't at me.
What?
Said Joe Flacco, top 10 gunslinger all time. Don't at me.
Well, when he wins the Browns the Super Bowl this year, he's about to be the best quarterback of all time.
Dude, he is a gunslinger, though.
No, I mean, the thing is that I feel like doesn't play in your guys' favor is, like, you still are suffering with, like, offensive line injuries, right?
Bro, pick a position, we're injured.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what you guys have been doing is great. Like, it's above like
Yeah.
above perception, but
I had the same feeling. I think we have like a team that could win the Super Bowl, and we're just one away, and then another one gets taken away, and then another one gets
yeah,
taken away. We're just kind of like losing everybody. Like, at what point is it just too much, right?
yeah.
Because we're on our fourth and fifth string tackles. We're on our third string running back. We're on our fourth string quarterback. We're on our, we've got our first and second string wide receivers, and then our backups are just like, whoever they can get in on the practice squad that week. Our safeties are all rookies. Our practice squad guys, our corners, if they all play, are great. But it's like, we've got three great ones, and usually only two play a week, and they alternate who decides they want to get hurt that week. Our linebacking, we lost two of our linebackers. We've lost, yeah, everything, bro. And at this point, like, it's just like, to me, like, Stefanski's such a good coach, and that team believes in everything right now. Like, I just don't even care. Like, throw whoever you want out there. Myles Garrett is better than your team, and you're gonna have to change everything you like to do, because if you don't, he will murder you. The Colts were like the last team that were like, we're gonna play Myles Garrett the way we want to play, and he was like a 18-point swing that game, and the teams were like, okay, no more. He's doubled, he's tripled. We're running away from him. We're throwing it away. We're doing everything quick.
Yeah.
So
Still won that game. So
who game?
the game that the officials stole from us. So
Oh,
anyways, I think it's going to be a 0.5. Like, to me, if I was like to set the spread, I would put 0.5 in favor
yeah, it's going to be close.
of the Texans.
In fairness,
so.
like, I'm talking about this because, like, I believe in the Browns team, and I've seen them play all year long, and I'm like, okay, we'll beat anybody. The two best teams in football right now that we talked about, who we think are going to go to the Super Bowl, guess who they were both beat by? The Browns. Right? So like we can beat any team.
Yeah, but wasn't the Niners, weren't they injured? Like, Debo was out?
No, we played with PJ Walker. So they can say, oh, dude, Debo didn't play that week. We have PJ Walker. Shut the hell up. You guys got beat by a practice squad quarterback, okay?
So whoever comes out, I think the Ravens are favored, but I think the real threats right now for the playoffs, I think, are going to be, I think, Baltimore, Cleveland, Kansas City still, just because. Yep. And then
it's Patrick.
Yeah. I don't know after that. Like, I think those are the real three teams that I think have good enough defense and just consistency lately.
And I love it this year because you're like, man, like, it kind of sucks. There's not like this one team that's just blowing everybody out, and they're the best. I think it's starting to get that parity now that we had when, like, Brady and San Diego and like Manning's, like, when you had those teams that everyone knew were going to be good every year, but they were all really close. And you're not going to have a Brady level franchise anymore in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen. So you get this, like, every team can beat any team. I think it's the Niners or whoever wins the AFC have the best chance to win the Super Bowl. Because I could see the Niners winning it because, they've got an easier path.
Yeah.
You've got to go through this juggernaut in the AFC. But, and like, when the Niners are on, I mean, there's not a team that can keep up with that offense.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the biggest thing on San Francisco is they're not built to play from behind, which is kind of like the Achilles heel of any playoff team.
Which is really funny because they have such a great run game. You'd think that they would be able to, but
yeah, I mean, they
like
also have a good pass offense too. Like, it's not like they don't pass for any yards. They're not comfortable with the deep shot and the big explosive plays when they have to have them, and or just like timing routes, curl routes, like the ones that Flacco has to do to just barely get enough yards down the field. So it's interesting. I think Detroit is also another team to watch, just because their coaching. Obviously the Rams. I know, like you said, parity is pretty strong this year. But I don't think there's a team that really got snubbed from the playoffs either. Like, I'm looking at all these teams, and there's not like, that team is better than another team that's already in the playoffs. Like, the closest one would be the New Orleans Saints, but they're 9-8, so I don't know.
Dude,
But
how do you let the Steelers get in, Jaguars? How are you that booty cheeks, honestly?
well, dude, Mason Rudolph, he's another quarterback that has the locker room a little bit more than other quarterbacks do.
Yeah, let's just hope he doesn't have to play the Browns because he might shit his pants and have PTSD.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it
Buffalo
seems like the
just
key
went up.
to slowing down Pittsburgh is slowing down Pickens. We'll see if that happens, but he's had a crazy year.
I mean, the Steelers are going to do what they always do. They fumble their way in the playoffs and be like, see how good we are, and then they're going to get their ass wiped in it, and they're going to be in the same purgatory next year where they don't have a quarterback, but they're good enough because they're well coached, and really that's what matters in football. When you have continuity and you've got a system in place, and there isn't a bunch of firings all the time, like you're going to be good.
Touchdown Bills up 21-14.
Yep.
7 minutes left. Wrap up the season. Let's just kind of talk about any surprisingly good teams or players.
Texans.
I think the Texans are definitely up there.
The Rams, we talked about them too.
The Rams.
Not like super surprising, but a lot of the times we hype up teams and then they like kind of like fumble the next year when we talked about it. But like the Lions were one of those teams that like everyone was like, dude, they're going to be good. They had a great end of the season last year. They're kind of putting it together. Like they're going to be really good. And they actually did it. Right.
Another
so,
team.
Like, that's another team.
Yeah. So, the other one I was going to say, so surprisingly bad teams came to mind more, was the Seahawks. I thought, Geno Smith was throwing out dots last year. They got, 3 quality wide receivers, 4 good running backs, great defense. I thought they would do something more. The Chargers absolutely collapsed in a big fashion.
I think that was going to happen, and everyone can see it when you collapse in the playoffs with your coach that you knew shouldn't have been a coach in the first place, was on the hot seat, and you kept him because you're cheap.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, that's the real reason. Like, it costs those guys money to fire those coaches. You have to shell out all that money, and then you have to buy new ones. So it's difficult.
Rule's still getting paid by the Panthers.
Yeah, I was surprised by the Titans being so bad, and then the Vikings. I mean, obviously they've been without Kirk Cousins, but they also started off so bad. They were like 0-4 to start off the year.
Yeah, they were.
Kirk was having the Falcons MVP. Were expected to be a lot better than 7 wins.
With them, though, you kind of knew it was Desmond Ridder, right?
Well, yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like they
obviously underperformed. I guess we can't argue that. I guess the Seahawks one I kind of want to bring up. Like, I don't know. Like Geno played like out of his mind. I just kind of expected a job. Right? Like, there's no way you think that, like, he was what he was for in his career for a reason. You get a year of tape on a guy.
He also hasn't, like, played awful either, though. It's not like Geno Smith has been, like, a clear problem. He just hasn't been, like, as
but that's why they were good
year.
last year is because he was playing on his head.
Yeah.
And then you didn't really improve in the offseason. You added a couple pieces, but it was still kind of the same thing.
Well, they added another rookie cornerback that was really good. Tariq Woolen fell off for some reason.
Can't tackle to save his life.
Yeah. And so it's just like, I think everyone was expecting a lot more than that this year. And, I think 9-8 fits them. But, like, I think going into the year, the hype for it was definitely more of like a 10 to 11 win team.
You want to know one that we were not surprised about? And I want to start this beef up again with our fans that watch us, those Bears fans. Bro, you guys are so nauseating. It's ridiculous. It's 10 wins easy, bro. Easily. How? Have you guys watched your team?
Let me pull up just because I'm curious. Sorry.
I like the Bronco fans. Those ones are my favorites.
Yeah, but they're so hurt now that they kind of
I
know
know.
they're back into that hell that we're not gonna have Russell Wilson next year.
Yeah, Russ is gone. Sean Payton's out doing Bounty Gate again.
Oh, okay.
But when they do complete the hits that they were supposed to do, Sean Payton cuts them.
5. Okay. So to be fair, so this is kind of something we can talk about, and it will be something that gets brought up at the end. But the Bears were 5-8 in their last, or 5-3 in the last 8 games. They won 5 of the last 8 against the Vikings, which is whatever. Against the Lions, lost 20-17 to the Browns. Beat the Cardinals, beat the Falcons, which they should have beat. Then lost to the Packers today. So in that stretch, like I honestly think that they didn't play bad football, other than just their wide receivers aren't shit outside of DJ Moore.
But here's my next point. Go to the last year prior to that and look at the last 8 that they played again. Because they did this last year too. You suck butt
Yeah,
for majority of the season, and then you're playing, your latter part of the schedule when you put some wins together, but it doesn't really matter.
yeah.
Well, to be fair, Justin Fields did get hurt into those 3 weeks, and Tyson
3 weeks,
Asian.
and they won one of them.
Yeah, but that's still 2 other wins that could be in the win column now because
Yeah.
we didn't have Justin Fields.
Well, it depends on what Justin
Not
Fields
that I
does
like
that
defending
week, because Justin Fields
Yeah.
is a total
But-
wave.
But what I'm meaning is, like, I think the Bears are in a better position now than they were at the beginning of the year. I think Justin Fields has improved this year. I think everyone can say that. Like, he's not clearly the problem in Chicago. I think the discussion, which we'll have fully later, is Caleb Williams that much better to warrant
No.
Yeah.
trading away Justin Fields? So we'll talk about that. But
No.
I do like to rub it in on the Chicago Bears fans because they do think that they're
Yes.
Dude,
Yeah.
like Broncos fans and Bears fans really did not like they commented all the time.
yeah.
Well, and we
Yeah.
proved them right. Well, we proved
Them and the
we proved
Broncos,
us
man.
right.
Yeah, but we called that. Like we
Yeah.
called that last
Yeah, we
year
did.
and we called it this year.
Yeah. Well, any other kind of cleanups on this year? I think it's crazy that other than CMC, there wasn't like a that same list of same running backs that are top of the charts. It's Raheem Mostert and
Yeah, right.
Kyron
Kyron Williams.
Williams. Yeah.
Kyron, yeah.
So I
Well-
think that's crazy. Wide receiver wise, Puka Nacua is like I'm just kidding. He's not the best,
Right.
but he had probably the best year.
He did pretty
just
good.
crazy.
Put up great numbers. That's just a rookie,
all the quarterbacks out of the year.
right?
Like, we can talk about.
I think
that.
that's a part of it though.
Yeah.
Like I think defenses, like you'll see, like the NFL kind of goes in like waves as well, and I think defenses have caught up, and now offenses are going to have to switch kind of how they've been doing things and adjust to it. But like even quarterbacks, like their numbers were all down.
Yeah.
Like Dak Prescott would be like 10th last year, and he's like first this year.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the 2 high safeties that I think everyone's doing. Just basically the whole thing is don't let yourself get beat deep. And all these quarterbacks, that's all they have been brought into the NFL to do is beat deep. Be Patrick Mahomes, be Josh Allen, be Justin Herbert. But now it's looking like maybe you want to be a Tom Brady. Maybe you want to be
which is why a guy like Brock Purdy can come out and he
Yeah.
doesn't throw the ball deep, and everyone's like, well, he doesn't do that good. I'm like, well, all he does is just throw it to the guy that's open.
yeah, I'm
Which-
sure do that instead.
which maybe he can't beat them deep, which is it's whatever. Like if you're gonna give him the stuff underneath, like that's what a good quarterback should do, is know his weaknesses. So
But
I mean, other
Kinda-
than Tyreek Hill can beat you deep anytime he wants. But there's
Yeah.
not these long developing like
and
deep
that too, Dylan,
crossers and stuff like that, like there have always been the last
like
5
you
years.
said, long developing. I think that's also changed is edge rushing.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many players with so many sacks.
Yeah.
Like it's just like athletes are just going to that position now, and it's showing.
Well, and tackle, I feel like hasn't really seen like these athletic people that can keep up with it. Like that position has gotten harder and harder to find someone that can be consistent there. Like Trent Williams, I'm sure we can list off a few people, but like I feel like offensive line is just it's so much harder. Like you have to worry about defensive tackles now that are extremely disruptive, like a DeForest
And
Buckner,
quick.
you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
It's one of those positions like offensive line, you can't really like change and adapt. You need to be big.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to be, while everything else can get faster
mhm.
and smaller, and you can't really do that with
Yeah.
tackles. Like you still need them to be big. You still need them to be durable.
Well, I think
It'll be
that-
adjusted. I'm sure you'll get more, footwork conscientious linemen over
Yeah.
time.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about this this upcoming draft now that we've kind of discussed a good bit of the NFL season. This might be a little bit more exciting for you Patriots fans watching for Mikey, or maybe just Mikey, because I don't know if we have Patriots fans watching us. Let us know in the comments who your team is, so we can know who our audience is. But we're gonna do a first round mock draft. I think we're gonna spend more time on the top end of the draft because obviously, like I said, none of us have gone through in depth on these players. So this is to show our jumping off point of where we, view people's needs, where we view the talent of the upcoming draft. So just a good conversation starter. But we will draft for all the teams.
Let's do it.
Let me get this pulled up here. So, pretty much all these up to pick, pick 18 are solidified.
Are you
After
sharing
that,
it up on Discord, Dylan, so we can see it?
oh yeah,
I know they can see it. It's just so we can see it.
yes.
Appreciate it, boss.
Share
My
my screen.
brother.
So, so like I said, all the picks from pick 1 to 18 are locked in right now. After that, it's just PFF's best representation of what it could look like. So
Yeah.
this can definitely change. Trades are going to happen, so this isn't the final list, obviously, but this is a conversation starter. If you disagree, that's great. Let us know in the comments. We like to return the comment back to you. We like to reply. So,
oh yeah,
we will tell you if you're wrong, if we agree, or
Twitter fingers, turn the trigger fingers.
Dylan hit it at it just a second ago when we were talking about the Bears, but that's what's on the clock right now.
Yeah.
And it comes down, I guess
The
we can have
Bears.
that discussion, that little mini topic. Are you keeping Justin Fields?
Yes.
If you can get a second round pick from him, or if
No.
maybe someone wants to give up a first, but it's likely a second, are you going to give him up and take your choice in the quarterback? Has Justin Fields shown you enough that you're willing to pay him Lamar Jackson money? Because that's what he's going to demand.
So,
Well, he's got
are we
one
doing
more year
this
to
mock
prove it,
draft
though.
what we would do or what we think will happen?
I would do what we think would happen. Well, no, let's do what we would do because it's still tough
Okay.
to know what the
Because
Patriots
if I'm the
have.
Bears,
Patriots.
I'm trading Justin Fields.
I'm not.
I'm not either.
Okay.
So we'll keep it.
Explain.
So
Three different coaches in 3 different years.
Eberflus has been there for the last 2 years.
Has he?
yeah, but so here's what I would do. And I'll try to keep this concise, but to me, I think Justin Fields has shown that he can have good ball placement, that he can make plays, and he can put the team on his back from time to time. Not consistent, not perfect at it. What your opportunity cost is a player that is the same way. Like, I think the biggest difference is height for Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. Other than Justin Fields can run the ball better. The thing with Caleb Williams that everyone falls in love with is he has a great arm. He has a great, view for the field, and he can scramble extremely well. I think Justin Fields has better professionalism when it comes to the game of football. I think he has the locker room very well right now. I think he has a great connection with DJ Moore. And I think if you were able to trade down from pick 1 instead of trade Justin Fields, not only can you potentially get Marvin Harrison Jr., but you can also get a blue chip left tackle or blue chip any other player, because there's so many good players in this draft. If you trade Justin Fields, you get Caleb Williams, which is not bad. I still have to do a lot more right
and
now.
you still have your 9th pick.
Yeah, you still have your 9th pick. But you get sorry, I'm blinking. Caleb Williams, and then by pick 9, you get a top prospect rather than a blue chip. Whereas I feel like if you go keep Justin Fields, because I still think he is going to be a good quarterback in this league, if not great. But the thing that you need is a team. You don't need necessarily, your home run hitting quarterback.
Okay.
And I think Justin Fields right now is closer to the playoffs than Caleb Williams is for the Bears. And
now let me play. Josh Allen's a beast. Let me play devil's advocate here, okay? You're Dylan's head coach, Mikey, you're GM, or vice versa, or whatever. You're going to have to pay Justin Fields this year top quarterback money.
No, you don't.
Right away. Yeah, you're going to have to extend him.
No.
It's not his contract is due, but that's when the people are starting to extend. That's when Herbert's getting extended.
Yeah,
that's when Lamar got
it's
extended.
clear and obvious. But right now, Justin Fields, he just said today that he feels like this might be his last rodeo with Chicago, which it could be. I'm saying if Justin Fields comes back, it's not because he thinks he's worth $40, $50 million a year. It's because he has something to prove, because he hasn't proved what we are saying he can do yet.
Right, but nobody's going to go out there and not play what they don't think they're worth. Like, everyone's going to go get their money. And
yeah,
if you're
I don't think Justin Fields
is
is thinking he's getting Justin Herbert money right now, though.
Why not? He's a quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. Daniel Jones. Like, fine, give him Daniel Jones money then. That's still a ton of money.
Yeah.
But then you're staking your jobs, because